You know what? I have to tell you that Sophie Mugure is here. Sophie, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm fine. Why is your voice like down there?
I'm fine.
You're fine?
Yeah,
all right.
I'm good.
Good to have you here this morning. And of course, looking at matters that we're talking about, Sophie Mugure here is the National Youth League Chair of the PM Party and joins us in a conversation this morning. And you'd be interested to note that we've been having a conversation. Kenyans have been telling us things this morning, and they've been talking about the fact that what we see happening around the country is not empowerment, but it's bribery. You'll hear them in a bit. But before we do that, Dennis will share today's proverb with you, and then we're going to get your comments about what you think about what's currently going on.
We are in Liberia. Right? The first republic in the continent, 1847. But let's go to the proverb. When the fowl is being slaughtered, let the turkey not laugh, because after the fowl, it will be its turn. How would you interpret it?
When I saw the headline that the 54-year-old advocate had been found murdered after missing for 2 months, that's exactly what I thought. Like, the older generation are out here thinking extrajudicial killings and disappearances is a young people's thing. Then the next time it's 54-year-olds being found murdered. So, same thing. Don't laugh. Don't sit and assume the thing is not going to affect you. Like, situations that go against humanity should be treated with utmost seriousness, because one way or another they'll come for you. So you know that thing they say, oh, they came for the preacher, I kept quiet,
and I said nothing.
They said nothing, now they've come for me, and there's no one to speak on my behalf. Absolutely.
Well,
those are the thoughts, for sure. Thanks for sharing that. And yes, folks, we can see you calling in 0732142650, 0732142653. But Sophie, there's a lot that's been happening in the country. We've been made to understand that these empowerment programs have been happening all around the country. In fact, somebody has sent me a message, or has tagged me on a message this morning, and said that we should be a little bit more responsible in terms of talking about these things that are happening all the time, but that the media chooses to highlight them only when something like Olkalau happens, and that we being irresponsible when it comes to not sharing about when these empowerments actually do happen. It's just coincidental that this is happening in Olkalau when there is an election, a by-election that's happening a few days ahead. So we must be responsible in reporting about the development that happens around the country, and not just highlight this one to make it seem as though nothing were happening around the country.
I don't understand, because if actually there are programs that affect common mwananchi, we said we will not be calling them common mwananchi, that affect Kenyans. This should just be felt. I say, for instance, Kibaki. Okay, let's go back. Moi had free milk that he was giving out to every single school at that time. And that was an impact that people could possibly talk about, and the hospitals and the infrastructures and the education systems then. Then there was free primary education. That did not have to be personalized. It was a thing that affected every single Kenyan across the country at a level board. Then there was Linda Mama. It affects every Kenyan at a level board. You benefit because you are a Kenyan. But what are these programs that are being given to... Okay, that person is saying these things happen all the time. When do umefikiwa? Mi sijafikiwa bado. I don't know if the rest of your co-hosts have been got by that. But my question is, don't we have independent institutions mandated to have intelligence on this, to know who is doing this, where the money is coming from? But what we are seeing this guy on the front page of Standard do is just issue threats. You'd think he's a kawaida Kenyan like us, that we are doing investigations, we are doing... Gosh, you're the CEO, you're the chairperson of the institution, and then you see the worst part is he's talking, and behind him it's free, transparent, and fair. Like the branding for IBC says free, transparent, and fair. But bro, uko mandated kufanya hiyo kazi. Why is this happening under your nose? 2 days ago, you issued, like this week, you said, that the specific caps somebody is supposed to use for campaign financing. Where is all this money coming from? We need to understand that. You should know by now. Last week, when he was giving the schedule for elections, he said that if we continue in this chaotic environment, we might not have an election because of the toxicity. Another week later, you're coming to tell us we might postpone the election or actually cancel it entirely. So you're threatening to deny the people of Olkalau representation based on something that you have been funded and given mandate to control. Are we serious? What sort of mediocrity is our country becoming? The people who are being paid using our taxpayers' money to institute policies and to implement them are the same people coming to tell us they are not able to do that.
Well, look, the question was raised this morning as to whether what we're seeing is empowerment or whether it's bribery. And we're taking some calls this morning. Just after Joe, you're going to come in. And I just want to remind folks what that number is: 0732 142650, 0732 142652. We'll take your calls in just a minute. Joe?
Hey, but Sophie, one would argue that the loss of an MP is something to worry and interest the government to come and condole with you. Because all these activities, you see them happening in constituencies where people have lost their representation, either the county or the National Assembly. So the question is now, is it really bribery? Is it empowerment? Is it IBC just going slow? And even the threat to cancel the election perhaps can also be interpreted to be an extension of the campaign period. Maybe some people are reading they might lose or they don't want to. So many things could be in play here. But my concern or my question this morning is, why do people show up for these things? Because it would appear that there are needs that have already been identified in these specific areas, be it power connectivity, be it water connectivity, be it mattress, be it the need for a train, a locomotive to be operational after so many years of stalling. But there are these needs that have already been identified. Why do people show up? If we know it is wrong, if we know we are being bribed, why are people showing up? Is it our poverty levels that are so high that we don't know what to do? Anything that comes our way, we go for it and say we're going to deal with the consequences later? Are people woke enough to know that the same government, the same system that is bringing you goodies now is the same system that has sustained your poverty level to a point whereby they'll come and have you beg and queue to receive things that you should have received years ago? Because every Kenyan should be having access to clean water. Every Kenyan should be having access to, proper shelter and all those things. People are receiving seedlings for plantation.
Shoes.
Shoes, speedboats. So are we able to connect the source of our problems and see how this, you said it is what? Affection. Spontaneous affection. That now instantly people are coming into your area, to your neighborhood, to your kitchens and bedrooms. We saw in Berenol, people were plucking jabba, people were taking tea. But after the election, people left. Are we able to connect the dots and see how powerful this thing we call a vote is? Because people are only camping in Olkalau because of the vote. That's all they need. They don't need cows, they don't need money, they don't want land. They want the people's vote. And people have invested more than $1 billion in that campaign. Are we able to make these connections?
I think everything that is happening is interconnected because this government is run by a man who is very, very smart. Like, there is nothing he has ever done with his existence other than politics. Like, William Ruto does not know how to sell chicken. He's been a politician ever since he was in university. So, from him coming to use state resources to bribe people in Olkalau, to him, at the end of the day, having a plan B, because he knows, even internationally, I'm sure they have told him, we will give Kenyans the benefit of doubt that they will not overturn your government, but we can only trust you up until voting day. So if you look at what they are trying to establish with the by-elections, in Mbeere North, people were being given lollipops. Do you remember?
Yes, they were.
By the governor, yes.
And even if you look at the narrative they're trying to create, even if you look at their social media platforms, they're so manipulative. You'll see Tumbi in a market, akinunua cabbage, akipena. Like, they have understood that Kenyans do not love anything else other than populist politics. And that is why it is uncomfortable when young people begin to raise issues and not who's the most popular person. Nani, look at the campaign tactics. Mtu hujai muona na kitamba anavaa kitamba. Mtu hujai muona amejifunga leso anajifunga leso. Like, vipindi, Kenyans love these things. They're more exciting, and the more they can talk about you on social media, the more popular you are. But then again, which body is mandated to perform voter education? Which body is mandated to assist you to open your brain to know a credible MP should be like this and like this? The same IABC. They get a budget for it, but they don't do it. Unfortunately, according to the Constitution, an independent institution is supposed to be a representation of the people. They are supposed to institutionalize oversight on behalf of the citizens. So the question here is, what is wrong with us as the citizens? Is it that we are so distracted with our day-to-day life, our life is so hard, that we do not understand that everything is political? However, the thing that I love the most is that at this period of time, there is a generation that is willing. In every home in Olkalau, there is a Gen Z. In every home, in everywhere in this country, there is a young person. And I can tell you, we are having these conversations with our parents. We're telling them, look, this is what you have made so normal that now it's being used against us. So now our parents are beginning to say, where my child is where I will be. For instance, my mother is like, Sophie, this time I don't think I trust because my mother had gone to the extent of calling Ruto her brother. It was that serious. Yani, so now she's like, no, I don't think I have the
Brother.
I will listen to you because I think you guys are raising issues. But to the people of Olkalau, in Mbeere North, they left. Less than a month later, there was a strike for a hospital. Now, wanatoa transformer. Have you been to Olkalau? Oh my God, it's such a green area. There's water, like natural flowing water. There's no wonder wanapelekewa boat, like, but the wanapelekewa boat kwa a dam that dries up sometimes. So you're like, guys, kwani amuishi hapa amuoni the things that are happening?
I mean, Sophie, in all this, because we were having a conversation yesterday and we're looking at the elections. Election is a process. And even as we look at towards the by-election, this, what you're seeing right now is the process towards that.
Exactly.
And with that, then there are minimums that people must operate within. IEBC is saying, what are you investigating? We've seen it. You look at EACC. Where is EACC when we see the speakers of the National Assemblies are participating in elections? Where is DCI in protecting the law?
They're busy looking for social media.
With that, then, the question that I ask is, individuals who are holding these positions in trust of us as wananchi, have they acclimatized themselves with the power that we have donated them? Do they even understand what it is they ought to do in those offices? Or are they just there to get salaries and to get orders from offices that should not be directing them because they are independent institutions?
You see, when we were doing the Tukokadi campaign, one day we had an audience with Alutalala. And he blurted out something very weird. Hadi yeye mwenyewe akarudi nyuma akajiuliza nimesema. Because in one of those videos we were saying one time at one of the exercises that we were doing in Thika. So he was like, you guys, do you know we are Ruto's people? You cannot be seen saying one term at an IEBC constituency office.
This you saw.
Then
you
Repeat
were
that again?
You
He
were
went
with
back-
him in the room,
Yeah.
Sophie.
I even, after that meeting, I told the guys we were in that meeting with, by the next meeting, I'm not attending.
What did
Because
he say
I will
again?
embarrass you guys.
What did he say again?
He said, we are Ruto's people. You cannot be saying one term at an IEBC branded constituency office. And I went like, so what you're trying to say is you're actually not independent? But that is exactly the system of appointments in this country. Institutions that should be given on merit are given on friendship basis. Why are we seeing threats being issued that if the chaotic environment continues, you are threatening to disqualify the candidates who you say you know? So we disqualify ndio tukutambue. That is your role. But you are giving threats like me, a normal Sophie will give you an ultimatum and tell you if you don't do this,
Call
maybe
police.
something like that. These guys, this institution is not independent. And I get so angry sometimes with even leaders who are in positions of power and they say they're in opposition. Because you have parliamentarians, you have people who can call these people for a discussion in parliament to oversight them. But you are busy outside making noise like the rest of us who do not have donated power. So these people don't, including the people we elect as MPs, they do not understand their role. Let me ask the people of the ones who that MP was shot, who Boyd Were is their representative.
Kasipul.
Can they show us a day where Boyd Were has spoken in parliament about the issues of the people of Kasipul since he was elected?
Oh, better North.
Mbere North. No, Mbere North is coming to say Tutam is in heaven because God, there is resurrection after you die. Tutam is in the Bible, so even Ruto should be a Tutam president. That's the one thing he's busy talking about outside here and giving excuses as to why transformers are being removed from his place. All of a sudden, there is a sudden inspection being done and servicing of the transformers. Excuse us, Kenyans, we are the problem. They are not. It is us.
Before Sophie cries, we'll take a couple of calls because people want to hear what people have to say this morning. 0732142650, 0732142653. Is this empowerment? Is it bribery? You'd be interested to hear what they have to say. Okay. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing? Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Hussein Mohammed. I'm calling from Isiolo.
Yes, Hussein. What are your thoughts? This bribery or is this empowerment?
This is not even bribery. It's a catastrophe. It is something that I cannot even think about. Now, what I'm trying to say is that we had a by-election in Isiolo South.
Yes.
We have never seen this kind of development, this kind of issue, this kind of things that which were brought to Isiolo South. It was just like we are second-class citizens of this country. And, I'm an elder, and by the way, history is very beautiful. I was a young man when Jomo Kenyatta was there. I also met Moi, and then Kibaki, also Uhuru. What I'm seeing here is the issue of governance has really completely been eroded by Kenya Kwanza government. And what I'm seeing here is the issue of Olkalau. It's totally bribery, not even bribery, worse than bribery. I'm talking about the issue of IEBC. IEBC is now, I'm sorry to say, it's no longer independent. I'm shocked to see the chair of IEBC saying he might disqualify the candidates or the election of Olkalau. all this time, the bribery was continuing, government officials were there, and yet he has never even spoken about it. My main worry is, by the way, I'm 70. My main worry is that current IEBC might put this country into a civil war because of lack of independency. They are being controlled from somewhere else, and the issue of governance in this country is at a crossroad.
Mohammed, that's very serious what you're saying.
Yes, because, by the way, governance is very critical. And I want to appeal to the president of this country. For God's sake, we respect the president and the presidency. Why don't you be somebody who will make sure that you follow the rules of law and leave the independent institutions to run independently? I'm worried about the IPOA, name institutions, all institutions. But I am worried about IEBC. I know Atulela, because he was the lawyer of Mudavadi. I was the chair of ANC when it was being disbanded. We had to sign some documents. Things are not going right in terms of governance. I want to tell Kenyans, for God's sake, open your eyes, think, because this is our country. We must make sure that we have to demand. By the way, the oversight, like the parliament, the Senate, has been captured. They are no longer independent. They are not even our leaders. We are just waiting for 2027 tutawafagia wote. For those many remarks, I want to say, wacha tuombe Mwenyezi Mungu kwa ajili things are not good for this country. By the way, Shah and She and Shu is not working in Isiolo and all over the country. I can tell you this. Kenyans are suffering, and I don't know really, but we need to think about 2027. We elected the right leader. The president wants to leave independent institutions, and your government should stop abducting youth, and allow people to demonstrate peacefully. But now what's happening in Olkalau for 2027, I am worried. IEBC is not an independent institution currently. I know that by the action. Thank you.
Mohammed Hussein is in Isiolo. Thank you very much for calling this morning. We're going to take a couple of calls from others, but thank you for lending your voice to that conversation. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Hello, fine, thank you. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I go by the name Babailes from Dubai. I for once thought maybe you're not allowed to receive calls from Dubai.
No, we receive calls from all over the world, and we're glad that you're calling us this morning.
Yeah.
Please tell us what your thoughts are about this. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I'd like to appreciate the guest, Sophia. She really injected. I really like her a lot. I think my algorithm line up with her. So what I want to say is that I'd like to say congratulations for the government for discovering that there is a constituency called Olkalau.
Okay.
I think, we learned about the European, they came from Europe and they discovered about the Lake Victoria, Mount Kenya, Mount Kilimanjaro, as if we were not living here. So they are the ones. So for them also, I think they have discovered that there is Olkalau and they need this stuff like they don't have cooking gas and stuff like that. How I wish they could have gone a little bit down and discovered that there is a school called Utumishi, and instead of giving those mattresses to the public, they could have given to those schools, because we have a number of schools which have a deficit of dormitories and even students are sleeping on corridors. Why did they? How can they see that? I don't understand. I don't really understand. And it really, and to the IEBC, thanks for them that we are confirming ourselves that they are an institution that we cannot trust. In fact, in the whole panel of the commission, I think it's only one person I can say that at least he's there based on merit. The guy who is there in regard to the issue of delimitation, because he's a survey and stuff like that. But the rest, they are there because they are talking on behalf of someone. Because if someone who is just backing and he cannot bite, then why are you in those positions? For God's sake, why are you receiving salaries? For them, their biggest thing is to talk about that they don't have cars, they have old cars, so they need new cars and stuff like that. And we can see even this stuff they're being distributed, the pipe water and stuff. We can see through. It is through this Article 223, the supplementary budget that was given to the four departments. And that is the money that is being used for this by-election. For me, I believe that is where the money, because how can you spend those money, it was 6 billion, around 6 billion in 2 weeks. It is the money being splashed in those by-elections. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling in this morning, Babalias, for calling in from Dubai this morning. We'll take some other calls briefly before we go to a break. Thanks for your call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling from. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Peter. I'm calling from Nairobi.
Yes, Peter, what are your thoughts? Are we looking at bribery or empowerment?
I think that you sugarcoating the question on what's happening in Olkarau right now. It's not just bribery; it's criminal. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm saying that is because I've been involved in community level development issues. And when you go back to the Constitution that we passed in 2010, the issue of public participation, why we have public participation, actually if it were followed to the letter, the whole idea is so that before, right now, or even before, you had politicians come in and say during campaign, it our letter, this one, I'll do this for you, I'll do this for you. The Constitution nullified that, whereby during the public participation, it is the villagers who come together. Let's look at the ward level. The villagers in the ward, they come together and sit down and decide, we need to prioritize this school, this road, this dam. And that is what they forward during the public participation to the ward administration and say, this is what we want. And this needs to go to the budget. So the ward, the county assembly debates based on what the people have asked. So you tell me, in your Kalau, I've seen some pink gas cylinders or whatever color they are.
Yeah.
Which villagers sat down and decided that's what we want? Which villagers sat down and decided we want a speedboat? It is not just bribery, it is criminal. It is criminal. And the worst part is the people, the Kenya Kwanza administration, they're very aware of this. They know what they're doing is criminal. And let me tell you, what's happening right now should not worry people. What should worry Kenyans is that this administration will do whatever it takes to come back to power and protect what they are doing. It is, when as a criminal, you want to eliminate loose ends. This is what this administration is going to do come 2027. They will kill, they will maim, they will bribe, they will steal, they will ban to be in power, to protect the crimes they're doing right now. These are just the tip of the iceberg. What's happening now should not worry Kenyans.
You're saying that what is coming is what should worry Kenyans.
What is coming is what should worry Kenyans. This goonism you're seeing, it is not by coincidence due. It is calculated. You are being slowly introduced to violence, so that when it happens in August or before August, it does not come as a shock. Bloodbath is coming so that this administration will protect what they're doing now. That's what should worry Kenya. What's happened is criminal in Olkarau. That's what happened in Mwea, in Mbere was criminal. All that will be protected. And be protected by whichever means possible by this administration.
Wow, it's heavy. But thank you for your thoughts this morning, Peter. Thank you for sharing those with us. Asante Sana. We're going to come back to you, Sophie, as we take more calls in just a minute, because you can hear what people are saying. Yeah. People said that we're sugarcoating this thing even and calling it just using, but it's actually a lot worse and a lot deeper than. Are we still surface level citizens where we see things for just, and we're not looking at what is under the layer?
There is a reason why the Constitution made sure that we have 3 independent arms of government. If the executive and the parliament are not able to look after themselves, then the judiciary must come in. But then again, we have normalized not following court orders. Like they were told not to clear the forest in Meru, they're still doing it. For a state lounge. I wonder where Uhuru used to sleep when he used to go to Meru, because now this one is saying he needs a place to sleep. So the same way we have normalized not following court orders is the same way we are, like the guy was just finished talking, saying that we are normalizing violence. And he's literally iterated what I'm just from saying. Nothing happens by coincidence in the government of William Samoei Ruto. He's a very calculative man. Even if you look at the amount of machinery that he has bought for the police, the budget allocations in this coming financial year that has just started this month, it just goes to show you where his priorities are and what his plans are to instigate violence and to come back on us as the citizens and say, hey, you're not ready to go into an election. You're fighting too much.
Can you translate budgetary allocation towards an intent to use or to turn Kenya into a state whereby it's controlled? Can you really do that, Sophie?
In this newspaper, by the Standard, it says 80 Kenyans die of cancer daily.
Yes.
SHA is not working. FinSprint, a company that apparently pays out the payments of SHA, maintains 2%. So if we are to say that 31 million Kenyans have registered into SHA, they have paid around 403 billion. So FinSprint is maintaining 806 billion. But we are removing 10 billion from reproductive and maternal care from the budgetary, the BPS of this financial year. We're removing 10 billion from reproductive and maternal health care. And we are giving National Police Service 11 billion. We're removing 25 billion from roads development. Sijui kama umeaiona barabara za CBD. Actually, they are so bad. They have major potholes. So we're removing 25 billion from road development. And we are giving 21 billion to Ministry of Defense. What does Ministry of Defense need with an additional 21 billion? From the 100 and something billion they already allocated, let's go into other operating expenses. After they have already catered for all the expenses, they cater for other operating expenses. In the financial year that just ended, the Ministry of Interior used the highest other operating expenses to a tune of 23 billion. It's no longer an issue of feelings and emotions. It is an issue of facts. What is he preparing for? I mean, are we fighting? You and me, are we fighting? We are from different communities. Are we fighting? In the areas where wameshindwa kumaliza banditry, now all that allocation to those two ministries, what is all that money for?
But then, Sophie, one would argue that the government does not fight with itself. It is the people who are radicalized.
Who fight the government?
No. It's the people who are equipped to fight one another on behalf of the so-called government. But we keep talking about we, the people, uprising. We, the people, have the power. The fear is gone. Their power is gone. But are we really, as we are saying, there is a potential threat of us being put at loggerheads so that there is interference on the electoral process. But we, the people, are we conversant with the idea that we can maintain and generate peace and a peaceful process, making sure that the outgoing president goes home peacefully? Because peace is not about him or the regime. Peace is about us. We, the people, not losing a single life. We, the people, not rising against one another, despite our political differences. Can we mature very fast? Because today is the 10th of July. We are exactly a month and a year away to voting. Can we, as a people from where you stand, decide and make a commitment to our own very selves that we are not going to fight one another, we are going to vote and peacefully have a transition in creation of a regime that will come and serve the people, whereby 80 people will not die of cancer, whereby people will not be dependent on how close you are to a president or a governor or an MP or even an MCA to experience development using the money that you pay as tax. Do we acknowledge the responsibility to generate, create and maintain peace is ours solely? The police, the regime has no place in it.
But let's be honest. Even the Bible will tell you that my people will perish for lack of knowledge.
You assume that is the truth, but fine.
But it is the truth. An ignorant society and an ignorant state is not able to make informed decisions. So if you calculatively look at Ruto's moves, he came for Standard Media Group. On Sabasaba Day, he went for Nation Media Group. What is he trying to do? He's trying to show you that, hey, if you keep informing the public, if you keep emancipating the masses, okay, you have refused to for the Bible. You have not refused, but Bob Marley said what? Emancipate yourself.
From mental slavery.
From mental slavery.
That's the gospel truth.
Because the problem is here, the brain. So the first three institutions have failed us. Who is the last person? The fourth estate. Who is the fourth estate? Aren't they coming for you? Aren't they coming for social media? Aren't they coming for all of us? You are asking where the police are. The other day, the spokesman was saying the police are not everywhere, but they are everywhere seeing our posts on social media. They are coming for the very people who are doing their best to enlighten the public. People who are doing peaceful campaigns are being come for. So in short, here, what we need to understand is we are on our own. And the issue here is not us who are already here and grown. The issue is posterity. What do our children inherit from us? So what is our role in ensuring that our children inherit a working Kenya? A new Kenya, a Kenya where they can live with dignity. Do you know now you are seeing goons in high-end areas? What does that mean for the state of business in the last quarter 3, quarter 4 for businesses in high-end areas?
I think for us to have a discussion that one would say Mwananchi is as well starting to think is, I have a problem with what some politicians are saying out there. Akikuja na pesa wewe kula, but know where you're voting. For me, that's that's a statement that should not exist. It should be wakikuja na pesa, wafukuze na pesa yao. Because at the end of the day, you're supposed to make a decision based off your feelings, research that you've done, and the person who will bring that change. There is an EU country where smoking was a problem, especially among the young people. And what did the society do? The entire society, including the leadership of the country, said, anyone who's smoking, you'll be considered to be the most useless person in that country. You know, and what did that do? People started people stopped smoking. Why? Because before the society, no one really cares who you are. Why? Because there's no one who's going to employ you. There's nowhere you'll go to talk to anybody because you are useless in that society. We need to start looking at individuals who are coming up with this bribery to us and tell them you are the worst there is in the society and you have no room where we are to even have a conversation because you are that, you are an idiot and you see less. Because we sugarcoat these things. IEBC says we are investigating. We will cancel the election. How about you just see these individuals, reprimand them, take them to court, remove them from the election and let the people decide the best person there is? Why isn't IEBC calling out the government that we're seeing is going against the electoral laws? The government swore to protect the constitution of the republic. When the government is failing at that and IEBC is not taking the requisite position, the power they have to speak out, where do we run to? But like you've said, We as a people must start having this discussion. When you're told kula lakini jua penye kura yako iko, fukuza huyo mtu. I don't know.
But you see, there's also a thing about us Kenyans, about not wanting to address the hard issues. For example, we are like, there is this side and this side. So this side that is actively opposing William Ruto, just because you are saying William Ruto must go, does not mean you are clean.
True.
Does not mean you are the Messiah. If we come down to the positions of leadership that you have ever held, what is your track record? The positions of leadership, you know, some of us who are the biggest people to say one term, we're still the people coming out when the controller of budgets releases the counties that have the most illegal bank accounts, you feature there. When the controller of budgets says that according to the constitution, counties are supposed to allocate 35% of their budget to development, and those of you who are allocating below 20%, you feature there as a candidate, as a person who is giving 13% of your entire budget to development. But you're on this side saying William Ruto must go and be replaced by somebody who you deem fit you yourself. But what are you doing? If you say that, Kenyans will come and tell you, oh, you want to divide the opposition, you're not being objective. But hey, why do we keep lying to ourselves? We are the sole source of the problem. And it needs to begin by what you're saying, reading these people of our attention. And our time. And now it needs to be, hey, we are not hearing leaders talk about sexual reproductive issues of women. We are seeing budget cuts on sexual reproductive health issues of women, and we are not hearing people talk about it. We are seeing issues of femicide. A friend of mine yesterday went to report to the police that she had been beaten by her own brother at home. And the police are telling her, madam, wewe sio wa kwanza. Unajua kunaendanga hivi, fanya hivi. Enda huko Buruburu police station, I think inakuanga hapo, enda huko. Huko ndio watakusaidia. But she's like, guys, you want me to go back to the same house I'm just from, coming here bleeding for you at? Tunaenda patrol, tebu tuende. Like, we are normalizing violence. A broken system. And you know, slowly, we are beginning to feel it. Why? Rwanda sold their tea for more money than us in the previous week. Kenya is slowly Kenya has lost. You know, Kenya used to be among the list of people where they could come for exile here and feel safe. Kenya was removed from that list. By the time we understand the cumulative effects of bad leadership, it will be so bad. It will take us decades to recover. So this is our once in a lifetime chance to finally say, hey, let's try new people. Nyinyi already, we know your modus operandi. We know how you move. Let's try new people. Let's put young leaders in parliament and county assemblies to safeguard at least the very institutions that are responsible for policies. And then if those people don't work, take them home. Bring another new one. If they don't work, take them home. Until we change the political arena to a point where people are able to see, hey, leadership is not a place where you come na unakwamia hapo.
But there is a question. There is a looming question. Because every time the age question is flagged, the governor of Nairobi is a young person.
True. But the governor of Makueni is a young person. And he has a lot of illegal accounts.
But the delivery of these people is very wanting.
Yes.
So much as we are saying, yes, for gear water, which I agree. I totally agree. We need a fresh, new criteria of the people we employ. I don't see anyone. I don't have a leader myself. I'm led by the constitution. Everybody else, starting with the president, is an employee. I pay them with our taxes. So we are seeking to employ people. In my opinion, yes, age could be a factor, but can we expand that criteria to the extent whereby we say we have the chapter 6 of the Constitution and many other provisions that define, whom an employee of Kenyans ought to be. And also we inculcate this in our mind, a paradigm shift, that we are not looking for a leader, not mtu wetu, no. We are looking to hire someone to do a specific job, whether you are appointed, nominated, or elected. If we can just define that, I think it will help us rid ourselves of these riffraffs, in my opinion, who come to just live these exaggerated lives on our taxes. Number 2, I think we also bear the responsibility, because we can talk about the problem for days on end, but if we don't start looking towards a solution, then the problem will persist and time is flying by. Could it be that we also need to stop showing up in these meetings of these characters? Because we give them their attention, we give them our time, and then we feel they should even compensate us for that. That's why they give the money and the goodies. How about we start showing up all together?
Good job.
Yeah, but hata kama basi hatuko job, tuko idle, hata kama tuna show up na bare minimums gani? As citizens, we first of all need to sit down and have the conversation amongst ourselves that, hey, in Thika, we need security lights, we need water. In Makueni, we need boreholes. In Isiolo, like they say, they need roads. Then when they come to us, we are presenting them that, hey, if your manifesto does not have sexual health and reproductive matters of women in it, you cannot talk to us.
But you don't see that as a problem? Because that is exactly what is happening in Olkalao. They gave their bare minimum. That if you want us to elect your candidate, give us water.
Walisema wanataka gas.
Electricity.
Na gas.
Everybody said what they wanted. Those bare minimums.
But those are things you do when you get to office.
We should have a problem with the source. Because if you go and demand from a corrupt person and they fulfill your immediate needs, your bare minimum, and then you let them into office, they still operate in a corrupt manner. So we need not to trade off. The bare minimum ought to be rule of law.
Yeah.
You remember what I said earlier? An election is a process. And a process starts with the bare minimums that even we're talking about in here, where we have, they say you need to have a degree, for example, right? And for you to have a degree, you need to go to CLE, Commission of Legal Education, or CUE, Commission of University Education. They have to look at your papers, and they have to satisfy, you have to satisfy that body that you are clean. They have to clear you. Now, when that body as well has a problem, you have an individual where from the word go chapter 6, out of the window. IEBC is talking about you must spend 4 billion shillings as a president, right? Why isn't IEBC having that conversation with KRA so that we know the source of that money that you are coming to spend? Can we have receipts that you give to show that you spent this money in a certain way? Today, I dare anyone to come tell us where the money being spent in Olkalao came from today, and where are the receipts on who got this money for us to say the Olkalao by-election that will take place is free and fair and followed all the tenets of the law, including fighting money laundering in the country. If these are things that we cannot talk and we cannot say are happening, we have no business saying our elections are free and fair and that we have the correct people who will change this country.
True that.
I think the people of Olkalao have a mandate to show the country that they can actually vote with their brains, that hata akuja jenge Tamak Road ndani ya nyumba yangu ama anifanye niishi kwa nyumba na niishinde nikimuita dad, lakini we vote out these people. Like, it needs to be a wake up call that, hey, I'm going home. And that is exactly what I'm hoping on 16th of July, the people of Olkalao are going to do. But if they actually don't guard those votes and they allow for the voting to be rigged or to be done like it was done in Mbere, then we still have a long way to go. 1 year will not be enough to change the trajectory of this country. So I guess the next few days are going to be very heated up. But it is about time that citizens take in the fact that they need to participate in the electoral process and political processes for us to actually change this nation.
And the participation that we speak about is not being on the receiving end of some of these things. The participation that we talk about is actually having a psyche that is awakened to the things that are actually going on.
Yeah.
But participatory means that you're putting into positions of leadership people who will actually then do their job, that the sovereignty that has been ascribed to them according to the Constitution. It's as simple as that. All of these other things, they're nice bells and whistles, but they don't matter. Really, when you're looking at the thing, what does the Constitution say? Which Kenyans agreed to? What did you agree that you're going to actually do for your country? And if you follow
I'm so
that,
grateful that Kenya has independence of the media, because were it not for the media, we would be far behind than we already are right now. So I don't know if anybody tells the media fraternity thank you enough, but from 1 to 10, we are at 4, 5 because of the media. So let's keep having these conversations. Maybe the cumulative effect will be seen in 2027.
It's good that we have these conversations, that we cannot keep quiet about certain things. So we want to say a very big thank you. Sophie Mugure here is the National Youth League Chair at PM Party, and she's been here with us this morning. And all of you, and I know that there were so many calls that we could not take, but that there's so much in terms of what people want to say, and that if we be the sounding board where people's opinions then will be made, then we will do it. Asante sana for being here this morning. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.